All right, everyone. Within, I think, less than an hour of the Korean summit being canceled in the wake of Kim Jong-un's original statements about Vice President Pence being, I think, a loser or inept or something, the Korean summit was canceled, and Trump sent his letter saying basically, well, I pray to God I never have to use all these nukes that I have. Oh, I hope I don't get an itchy trigger finger. Be afraid. I'd love to go to the meeting with you, but for now I can't do that because, you're insulting my second in command. When he did that, I said it was the right decision and the Korean summit would still go forward. And now it's official. A week later, yes, the summit is indeed back on. That's exactly what I expected. See, here's the thing. Trump understands Asian politics, and there were people swearing up and down the Korean summit wouldn't go on and World War III was coming and John Bolton was the reason. Like, Trump has bowed before neocons on foreign policy. There will be war. What I predict about John Bolton is that because he's so notorious in the sort of Bushite proxy war sense, Trump chose him to become an official advisor specifically to make our enemies afraid. By making it look like he's gearing up to attack somebody, nations like North Korea are much more willing to negotiate because they don't want to be attacked. North Korea knows it would lose if it got into a war with us. Kim Jong-un is not actually insane. He's classically educated in the Western world. He knows what the outside world is like. He knows that he reigns over an area where he and a handful of other people are wealthy. Everyone else lives in squalor. That's ultimately how North Korea operates. He is acutely aware of this fact. And by the way, because he's a mafioso-style strongman politician, he doesn't care. He's like, well, the Korean people march on. We're still here. The Korean goal, the goal of North Korea, operative sense, has been to attain enough of a nuclear deterrent to overrun South Korea without the substantial risk of intervention by the rest of the world to reunify it under Juche. That's ultimately what it is. Reunification has always been the goal of North Korea, but now they know that that's probably not going to be able to happen. What's the only other way for Kim Jong-un's regime to survive? Play nice. He'll drag it out, he'll drag his heels, but I think he realizes the best thing he can do at this point is to become essentially a partially unified, sort of a intermediate stage Korea, in which the two are working more closely together. The Korean War is over, therefore the U.S. won't intervene. It won't have a reason to intervene because specifically there will be no actual war to intervene in. That's essentially the only way Kim Jong-un's regime at this point survives. Trump has made it clear he'll intervene with nuclear weapons if necessary. That scares the living daylights out of Kim Jong-un because the one thing that he hasn't been counting on is the rise of a president who will actually take physical action. All the other presidents have been just huff and puff and blow your house down and then they walk away. They don't do anything. They say there's a red line that North Korea may not cross or we will do something about it. What do you end up doing when they inevitably cross the red line? A sanction that China won't agree to, that Russian smugglers won't agree to. Doesn't affect them. Meaningless. Trump managed to get China involved, which throttles their ability to countermand any sanctions. That's what this is about. The Chinese want to trade with the world and make a lot of money. They want to prop up what has become an increasingly slower and slower economy so they don't suffer a massive collapse and leave India as the main Asian superpower. That's honestly what the Chinese are thinking about. They're an exporting muscle. What happens when that market dries up? They've already started, in order to compete with India and all these other countries, they've started exporting their own labor to Africa, of all places. China has basically colonized chunks of Eastern Africa at this point. They're not willing to deal with the diplomatic pressure inherent in defending North Korea. It's become untenable for them. They can't do it. So Kim Jong-un is willing to play nice, and Trump, every step of the way, has outmaneuvered everyone in terms of strategy. He has outmaneuvered China with tariffs. He's getting into a tariff war now with Canada and Mexico. Let's see how it goes. I wonder, could it be similar to the Chinese tariff war, where they realize that their economies will collapse and we can get goods from other people and not give a fuck about either of their nations? Could it be that the United States, as the world's major economy, doesn't have to play nice with people who we have shitty trade deals with? Yeah, it's almost like that actually works, like being a strong-arm individual and asserting yourself gets you a better place than bending over backwards as all last few presidents have done. Obama bent over backwards. Bush bent over backwards. Clinton bent over backwards. Herbert Walker bent over backwards. We're in a shitty situation right now because we've had 4 inept globalistic presidents in a row. The last president who knew what he was doing in some semblance of sense was Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan wasn't even a great president. He was just an okay president. But compared to the last 4 morons, he seems pretty great now, doesn't he? It's really funny when political scientists try to put Ronald Reagan below Bill Clinton in the rankings. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What's Bill Clinton known for? Screwing around a lot, and the fact that the Soviet Union was dismantled during his presidency, therefore it was an era of good feelings. That's why you remember the 90s in a nostalgic way. It's not because of anything Clinton did. It's not because things were actually great. It's just that things had improved because of our only major opponent in the world collapsing completely because of their own stupidity. That's what happened. The North Korea summit is officially back on, which is exactly what I said would happen. The summit will occur. He will shake Kim Jong-un's hand. They will smile. They'll say some warm things. There will probably be backsliding, and Kim Jong-un or Donald Trump will devolve into insulting one another occasionally in the future. But ultimately, we are in a far better position in respect to the Korean Peninsula than we have ever been since the Korean War began. You do realize we are still at war in Korea and have been since the 1950s. When people say Afghanistan's our longest war, no, Afghanistan's our longest hot war. The Korean War is the longest war in totality. It's been going on for more than, for up to 3/4 of a century. So, it's been a while since we've technically had peace. Yeah. Or not 3/4 of a century, what, like 65 years? Something akin to that. It's been a long time now, hasn't it? So, I wish Trump well in the summit, and there are some people who don't. They want him to fail, I think. They want to be able to say, haha, Trump is stupid on foreign policy. I think that you're going to be eating your words, and trust me, if he does fail, and the U.S. ends up forced to get involved in the peninsula, which is the next step, yeah, that'd be a little bit of a problem. Kim Jong-un probably has already been told by Pompeo, play nice and deal with the situation and at least end the war and begin the process of reunification or we will invade. Which is probably what he also told China, which is probably why the Chinese met with Kim Jong-un several times recently. They probably told him, hey, he's probably serious. And we're not going to shelter you. What, you think we're going to take a nuke for you? Fuck off. That's probably what he was told. Patience has run out. Trump said it. Early on in his presidency, the era of strategic patience is over. So you can expect him to govern in that manner. Let's hope that he succeeds at his summit meeting with Kim and President Moon, and I think isn't Jinping supposed to be there in Singapore as well, I think. Let's hope that it goes off without a hitch and that there's no saboteur waiting in the wings or some crazy shit like that. That would be a little bit of a problem. Probably start World War III. That's about all. Peace out.